Today's episode of This Week in Startups is brought to you by Ingenious. Higher quality leads and customized customer data at scale. Schedule a free demo at ingenious.com. And by Squarespace, an all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create a professional website, and now an online store. For a free trial and 10% off your first purchase on new accounts, go to squarespace.com and use the offer code TWIST.
Hey everybody, today is a very special episode of This Week in Startups. I have Stu Wall on the program of Signpost. Signpost is a little company that I was the second or third investor in back in 2011, and he's built this company to 200 employees, millions of dollars in revenue, and he is going to explain how he did it. It's a great victory lap here on This Week in Startups for an amazing founder that has done tremendous things in his entrepreneurial career, and it's his first time up at bat, a tremendous entrepreneur at a tremendous startup. And it's just really heartwarming for me as one of the first angel investors in this company to see his growth. You're going to love the story. Stick with us.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah. Money is the root of all evil. What? Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah. We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Hey everybody, welcome to This Week in Startups. I'm your host, Jason Calacanis. You can find me on the Twitter at Jason. This is the show where we talk about startups, entrepreneurship, changing the world through products and services. If you work at a big company and you feel very safe and secure in what you're doing and you never want to be an entrepreneur, don't watch the show. It'll be torturous for you because you're going to see people on this program who are out there taking risk, getting in the game, and trying to change the world. And it's going to make you go insane. However, if you're in that dead-end job and you're sitting there wondering, God, is this all there is to life? Maybe I could do something. Maybe I have an idea. Maybe I could be an entrepreneur. Then I suggest you start watching every single episode of this program because you will learn more in 500 episodes of This Week in Startups than you could from going to Harvard, Stanford, and every other business school on the planet. Why? It's not because I'm like some excellent teacher. I'm not. It's because I get the best guests in the world to come on this program, and we tease out of them how they did it. And they explain in detail how they raised the money, how they built the products, how they failed, how they succeeded, and how they got where they are. The archive speaks for itself. In fact, somebody was telling me the other day they were watching the episode from 2011 when I had Travis from Uber on the program. And they said, wow, this was an amazing episode because there's a moment in the episode where Travis is talking about maybe going to another city and launching other cities. And I said to him on the program, I think this could be a $1 billion company. And he looked at me and he said, do you really think it could be? It's a pretty incredible moment in history. And those are the moments you'll see if you go to thisweekinstartups.com. Now, some of you, if you're new to the program, may or may not know that later on in my career, I started angel investing. Why did I start angel investing? Very simple. Two of my friends started two companies. One of them had a poker app that worked on Facebook, and the other one came up with this cockamamie idea that they were going to do blog posts without the blog post and just put the headline there. Both of them were asking me if I wanted to invest and asking me for advice on, which investors they should get. Two good friends of mine, Mark and Evan. Those two companies, the poker game on Facebook became Zynga, and the blog post without the post and just the headline became Twitter. I lost $100 million probably not investing in those companies, and that made me absolutely mental. And that's when I started angel investing. That's the true story.
Great story.
And when I started angel investing, I just started meeting companies. And this was, I don't know, Stu, when did we meet? 2010?
2010, yeah.
So back in 2010, I was building my own company, but I was like, I think I could angel invest in a couple of things. And I was an entrepreneur in residence at Sequoia, so Roloff was telling me how it worked. And I just said, hey, let me get a couple people together who are angel investors, and we'll all get in a room, we'll look at some companies, and maybe we'll invest in some. In 2010, it was not like it is in 2014 or 2015. And I met a guy named Stuart Wall, and he had a company called Postabon at the time.
That's right.
I remember everything. Oh, and anyway, welcome to the program, Stuart Wall.
Thanks for having me.
Now, you've never been on the program.
I've never been on the program, no.
See, this is where I'm an idiot. Like, I invested in your company 4 or 5 years ago, and I haven't had you on the program. Your company has done tremendous. I got to go through my portfolio and make sure I haven't insulted any of my other portfolio companies. But you and I met how?
It was through Open Angel Forum. I'm not sure how we got connected, but I came out. We presented. There were 5 other companies, and then afterwards, you invested.
And this was was it the one we did at Matt Coffin's house?
It was at Matt Coffin's house. That's
okay.
Right. This was like WakeMate, us,
WakeMate, Backupify. I invested in Backupify. They sold.
Yep. I can't remember the other 2. There was
2 others there. Yeah. I can't remember either. But anyway,
great event, yeah.
Back then, nobody knew who the angel investors were. As entrepreneurs, we'd have to beg people to tell us. There's no angel list.
Yeah, it's true.
And I just had a bunch of people over my friend Matt Coffin's house, who was an angel investor at the time in Bel Air.
Yep.
I think Ron Conway showed up. He just happened to be in town, and a bunch of other people were there. Did you get any other investors?
None others from that presentation. But we did our Series A with Spark right after that. Yeah. So then, we weren't really looking for angels as much.
Didn't need angels
because we connected with you, I think. Wanted to bring you in.
And this was 5 years ago. Yeah, and the original, almost. 4 or 5 years ago, right? Uh-huh. And now the original idea was Post-a-Bon. And your original idea was to be like a white label Groupon, sort of.
Yeah, I think there's an article that called us the love child of Foursquare and Groupon when that was viewed favorably. But yeah, so the idea was we were really into location. We thought, there's something interesting about everyone using mobile devices in a way to connect customers with brick and mortar businesses. And so our idea was to let people post cool things in their city. So kind of like tips on what Foursquare does today, but only tips, no check-ins.
Right.
And then you'd build a reputation just like you would on Yelp, and people could find neat things around them. And then you'd monetize by selling kind of special ads to brick and mortar.
So I'm walking through New York. I'm like, oh, hey, wow, I looked in the window, and this company is doing buy 2 pies, get 1 pie free, and I put it on Post-a-Bon.
Yep.
I'm posting a bon, a good.
Exactly.
And this idea, when you look back on it, how do you look back on this idea? Do you hate this idea? Do you think it's a terrible idea now?
I think it was a great learning experience. I mean, one thing that I believe is, it was. What we learned, there are 2 things that we learned. I think the most important was in terms of monetizing the platform. Mm-hmm. So I was going out and selling brick and mortar businesses, and the idea of having their own kind of specials on this platform. And what I realized, I was one of 20 people walking in. So there's Yelp, there's Foursquare, there's Google, there's all these different things people have to manage. Groupon.
Facebook launched their own Groupon competitor for a minute.
Exactly. Yeah, everybody launched a Groupon competitor for a minute. But there was so much going on. And really the problem that we wanted to fix was, how do we solve this for the businesses so we can kind of empower brick and mortar businesses to be world-class marketers and not have to manage all these different platforms and invest money and stuff that doesn't work. So that was more powerful. Plus, not having a consumer site, there's a lot of volatility, if you expect to have a platform that's virally adopted like that.
Well, you look at Groupon, it's like, that's volatility defined. I mean, that was like a huge phenomenon that once the economy kind of recovered, it just went away. How do you handicap what happened to Groupon? What do you think happened there?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Groupon's still a multi-billion-dollar company. Right. I think it's just the boom and the bust that, people refer to. So I think for a time, people were very optimistic about the outlook, and less so now. We wouldn't recommend Groupon for brick and mortar businesses, but I think there are some that use it. In particular, folks that are new or kind of really need to get new customers. It's pretty expensive, but you do get some capital up front. There's a little bit of financing that goes along with it. So for some businesses, it works. For most businesses, we think it does.
Have they changed their deal? Because the deal originally, if I remember correctly, was they would buy, essentially they would be buying 1,000, dinners, or 1,000 yoga lessons at half price. They would sell them to the customers at that half price, and then they would keep half of the half and give you half of the half. So you basically got 25%.
You get 25%, yeah.
Which, for most businesses, meant they were in the red.
Yeah, very few businesses can make money at 25% of their price. So again, it's, if you're really trying to get out there and you're brand new, it makes sense. The other problem is a lot of the people that buy Groupons, if you think about it, Groupon markets to people that buy Groupon, 2 or 3 times a week, and the marketing is your city at 90% off. So those are customers that are great for Groupon because they buy often and Groupon gets 50%. They're bad for the end customer because they're unlikely to come back. They're going to go on to the next Groupon.
You know what's interesting? I think back at that time when you were pitching Post-a-Bon, and I looked at the idea and I wasn't completely in love with the idea.
Yeah.
But I looked at you, and I think this was like one of my big lessons in angel investing, especially with not investing in Mark Pincus's and Evan Williams' companies, but then investing in Uber, is like you actually don't need to really handicap the idea all that much as an angel investor. You just need to know if the person is a killer. Like, is the person going to kill it and figure it out? And you had this big neon sign over your head that was like, winner, invest, winner, invest. And I was like, guy's a winner. I mean, I don't think this is the idea, but he's going to get to it. That was like literally part of my thesis was like, Stu is smart and he's on it. He'll figure it out. So when was the moment when you figured it out, do you think, and you flipped the business? So in other words, how many months or years were you in the woods with the wrong idea or the bad idea, the learning experience idea?
Yeah. So I think one big, pivot, I know pivot's a dirty word, but the big shift to become a software as a service company happened in 2012. And I think for that, we kind of looked at our data, we looked at the market and thought really our product was not the right fit. We didn't have product market fit. And we kind of identified a path that we thought was much better, which is the path we're on today.
How long did that take?
It took probably a year and a half, so we invested a fair amount. But
when we get back from the commercial break, I want you to tell me how you go to this investor group. And then explain to them that you burned all this money on the wrong idea, but now, after 18 months, you actually know the right idea, how you actually said that to them, the actual dialogue and what happened. And then what was the new idea when we get back from this very important break. Yes, Lead Genius is an amazing company that we use here at the Launch Company. How do we use it? We try to find leads for our sales department to then go sell. Now, lead generation is one of those things that is, I don't want to say drudgery, but it's really hard work. And if you have a great sales team, they want to be on the phone, writing proposals, and taking your clients, to the let me start over. I just got a little thing tickle in my throat. Oh, sorry.
It's all good.
Count me down one more time.
And in 3, 2.
Yes, Lead Genius. I love Lead Genius. We're using it here at This Week in Startups. We use it at Launch to find great leads. How do they do it? They have a team of people who specialize in qualifying leads, finding them, cleaning them up, and then sending them that initial contact. And then once they get those great leads, the good leads to your sales team, they move on to get more. And that's what your sales team is always asking for. Like, listen, if you get me a qualified lead, I can close it, boss. Get me the qualified lead, I can close it. That's what my guys tell me. I'm sure that's what your people tell you. Well, Lead Genius has figured out a systematic way to go find the data online from different sources and normalize it and then get that first contact going and get the information into your CMS or your CRM rather, your customer relationship management software. And they do a great job. They import all the stuff, like I said, into your CRM and they'll use your marketing automation software, whatever it is. If you use Tout or if you use Streak or there's all these different products out there that people use, Salesforce. They have clients like Stripe and Signified, and you can sign up to use Lead Genius at leadgenius.com/twist, and you will get a free audit of your company's sales process. So not just the lead generation, but all aspects of your company's process. Clients are going crazy for this company. And you're going to get great contact data with it because that's another key problem. Your sales team goes and they get all these contacts and the contact information changes like 6% a month on average. So that means like every 20 months your entire database is worthless. So you need to have somebody in there grooming it, cleaning it, and making sure it's tight. Fewer poor quality leads, more time selling, more revenue, and that human touch is needed to really get your sales team firing on all cylinders. I love this company so much I actually invested in it. And then they were like, hey, can we advertise on your program? I was like, sure, go ahead. Lead Genius does a great job. If you're a startup or a big company and you want to get more leads, just go to leadgenius.com/twist and you'll get that free audit. I mean, they know the sales process better than anybody. You'll love the product, great company, and it's a great solution if you want to scale your sales. Let's get back to this amazing episode. Thanks, Lead Genius. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to This Week in Startups. My guest is Stu Wall. You can follow him on the Twitter, Stuart Wall. And you can follow Signpost, his company, Signpost SMB. SMB meaning?
Small and medium business.
That's right. Correct. You actually know what the SMB in your name is for.
That's a good thing.
When we left our hero, he had blown through all of my money and a bunch of sparks in 18 months on the wrong idea.
Yep.
Realized it. And then you had to get the courage to go to the board and the investors and say, we're junking this business and changing the name and doing something. Take me back to that moment. Where did this happen?
Yeah. So, I think There was no one specific moment. So I talk to the investors every week. I have a call with them, and so our agreement is no surprises. So whenever we see things not working, I'm very transparent with them. Whenever we have new ideas, there's never a moment. We started testing things before we kind of made the shift, and it was never like we were completely flipping the business.
Yeah.
We would kind of release new things consistently. And I think the other thing is if you get the right investors. So obviously you introed with this, but people that really believe in you as the entrepreneur and you as a team, and kind of the category. Our vision has always been the same. We've always wanted to empower brick and mortar businesses to become world-class marketers. The way we've executed has changed over time because we've learned, once we get real customer feedback, what's a better approach.
Right.
And so they've been supportive throughout, which has been really great for us.
So by having an open, candid dialogue the whole time, it wasn't like there was this great surprise. It was like, hey, yeah, the business has been, not growing. It's not breaking out. We're not crushing it. But we have an idea that might crush it. So everybody cool with us putting all of our energy behind this idea?
Yeah, more or less. I think it wasn't that categorically the business wasn't doing well. We actually found that there were a lot of people that wanted to submit tips and were posting content. Yeah. The difference was the consumption of the content wasn't ramping like we hoped it would. But the early adopters and the people that were using it often were very excited about it.
Okay.
So we thought there was a better idea. It wasn't like what we set out to do was complete disaster.
Yeah, I just wasn't getting that like hyper growth.
Exactly. That you're looking for.
That VCs are like in it for.
Exactly.
So what was can you show the idea that actually broke out, or can you show the product?
Yeah, I can show the product.
Yeah.
Maybe I can do.
Explain to the audience, because we haven't actually done that. My fault as the moderator here of This Week in Startups. But explain to the audience what actually Signpost does. We know what Postabon did. You were doing the tips and doing the Groupon. We know what the failed idea was. This is the idea that's crushing it right now. And you have thousands, if not tens of thousands of customers.
Absolutely.
Tell us that idea and show us that idea.
Yeah. So again, the theme of the vision is we want to empower brick and mortar businesses to become world-class marketers. And the way that we do that is we take CRM software, so customer relationship software, typically is only available for B2B companies that have, enterprise company with a big sales and marketing team. We make it accessible to B2C, pretty much across the categories. So we do deal with SMB and even some small businesses. We also increasingly sell to large franchise companies that have hundreds of locations.
So tools to do CRM for a mom and pop dry cleaner. Or a restaurant or a cafe.
I think the way we define it is B2C companies.
Right.
So you don't have a sales team that's making calls every day.
Right.
We do have, a more typical customer for us might be a dentist.
Got it.
But then we also scale up to, 100 location dental practice.
Got it.
So we kind of play a lot of, we have various categories and sizes of businesses on the platform.
Got it.
But so the theme is, CRM software. So think of things like Salesforce. That's really at the core of, if you're, big enterprise company, B2B company, that's at the core of all of your marketing.
Yeah.
But if you're, and it works really well. But if you're B2C, you don't really have great data on your customers.
No.
You don't, know how to manage prospects and get them to convert and show up the first time. You don't know how to re-engage your existing base and get reviews, referrals, word of mouth, loyalty. And that software doesn't work for you.
Each of those things is like an art unto themselves. And these businesses, my dad having had small businesses when I was growing up, like bars and stuff like that, like they barely know how to get into like the yellow pages or what size ad to do, let alone a customer funnel.
Exactly. And again, across sizes, nobody went into business because they're passionate about digital marketing. They went into business because they wanted to be a dentist.
Right.
So they have to do that. They're really good at their job, and running a business is tough. But, the marketing piece that, might be more intuitive for you and I because we're in, kind of the tech sector is less intuitive for them.
Right.
So what we do is we plug into every phone call, every email, every interaction on social media, and every credit card transaction. From all 4 data streams, we get the customer information, and we pull that together in one kind of cross-reference data set.
Got it.
So every location for us, we have kind of this rich database of customer information. So then what we do is we segment it, and we can see, here's somebody that found you online, called you, but on that last mile, they dropped out for some reason. 90 people do this every month. Those are your most valuable 90 leads. Let's start marketing to those people to get them to show up. On the flip side, then, people that are existing customers, we can see someone transacted with you 5 minutes ago and send them a request to write a review on Yelp or ask them how satisfied they are.
Got it.
And we can also do, referrals. There's a lot of other marketing that's plugged into it.
So all that glue that people would have to do manually, you made a platform for.
Exactly.
And then you just charge them for it.
Yeah, yeah, and there's two big buckets of what we do. I think. I mean, one is the data itself. So, data is an asset for you as a business. The more information you have, the more valuable that resource is.
Right.
The second thing is really automated marketing. So we think technology should be invisible. So rather than waiting for them to score leads and decide to send an SMS or send an email, they tell us what they want to accomplish, and then our software sends it automatically.
Yeah, you create that loop, right? Like Square had a pretty good loop where you get the receipt, and then you could put something on the receipt. Like you always hear about that story, or the Apple Store, I guess, does it pretty well too.
Apple Store does it well. That's right.
There's this whole loop of keeping the customer engaged.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think Square and Apple do that well with kind of the transaction data, but there aren't a lot of people, especially in B2C, that are threading together all the different data sets.
Got it. Can you show me? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So
pull up a screen, guys. Oh, thank you. Can you make that full screen?
Yeah, I'll go back and forth between.
Boom, there you go.
Okay. So this is an example customer for us, a Pure Bar.
What is that bar? Is that like yoga or Pilates? What is bar?
I'm not going to lie, I've never been before, but yeah, I think it's.
I hear about it all the time. Someone can tell me.
We'll have to try it out. We'll next time I'm here, we'll go.
You and I will go to bar
class.
class.
We'll go together.
Yeah.
So this is a customer of ours. We have a lot of. This is a franchise. They've got a couple hundred locations in the U.S.
A couple of hundred.
Yeah, a number of franchisees then are clients of Signpost.
So you get them going up and down.
Yeah, this particular business has three locations with us. Again, we scale from 1 location businesses to 100 location business.
Got it.
The theme here is if you think about this business like anyone else in brick and mortar, you've got high fixed costs, right? You're going to pay for your rent, you're going to pay for your instructors, you've got all these other things. Even if the class is empty, you and I don't show up.
Right.
You're still paying for those things. So it means getting new customers in and keeping the customers you have is number one priority.
It's critical.
Yeah.
The last 2 or 3 people in the class are probably the entire profitability.
Exactly. So our average business spends $1,000 a month. Our average client.
1,000 we're making per month?
We're charging $200 a month. They're spending $1,000 a month on some form of advertising.
Got it.
So think of like Google, Facebook, Yelp, everything else.
I was like, we're getting $1,000 a month. This is gonna be awesome. This is gonna be a great investment. No, we charge $200 a month.
We charge $200 a month per location. So actually, we have a lot of businesses that are paying us well over $1,000.
Got it.
They're doing this advertising, but they're doing a really bad job of tracking their prospects. You might spend $1,000 to get 4 leads on Google, but then you get a few hundred leads yourself that are calling your business. You're not doing anything with those leads.
And you can't tell which is which, so you don't know which channel to double down on.
You have no idea, exactly. So that's typical for a business for us. So they sign up for Signpost. I'll take you through the customer interaction first.
Cool.
So the first thing that's going to happen is because of Signpost, as you can see it on the left, this is my phone screen.
Got it.
Because of Signpost, we've updated their Yelp profile. So Yelp, Google+, Yahoo, MapQuest.
Google Plus is your listing in Google search, by the way, right?
Google Plus matters because of Google Maps, Google Organic Search.
That was a clever, sinister thing Google did. They're like, nobody's using Google Plus, and we're trying to kill Yelp. Go to Google Plus and put your business information in there, and then we'll put it in Google Search. And if you don't get into Google Search.
Exactly. So it's really important. If you're a small business, having a Google Plus profile is pretty important. So we'll help with that.
Yeah.
But where it gets really exciting is, so you're looking for an exercise class.
Yep.
We search for them, you find the business, you're probably going to make.
Oh, look at that. You're using Reflector to put it on the screen?
Yes.
Or something? That's cool. By the way, for entrepreneurs who don't know, there's a really cool piece of software called Reflector that puts your phone on your desktop. And this is why Stu is such a great entrepreneur. He knows to do this. So you're showing us your phone. Boom.
Showing us our phone. So I just made a phone call to the business through Yelp, which is a pretty common thing to do. I'm going to send them an email as well.
Got it.
So we're assuming this is a customer.
Boom. Love it.
So let's see, what time are you open?
Okay. So you called the business, then you're emailing the business, putting in my address. Yeah, okay, whatever. What time we get it? What time? It's listing. You're lucky that's the last thing in your clipboard. I was just talking to somebody about that. Like, be careful with your clipboard.
Yeah.
So, you ever have that clipboard? I have clipboard fear sometimes that I'm going to cut and paste the conversation I'm having in the wrong window.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever done. I can imagine that.
I mean, everybody has typed the text into the wrong window.
Yeah.
And in fact, I have a joke with some of my friends.
Yeah.
Where we type and completely inappropriate text
and pretend like it was
and then we a second later say, oh, sorry, wrong window. It's pretty funny.
That's phenomenal.
You can go ahead and do that with your friends. Okay. I'm just doing a little filibustering while the calls go in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the first thing that's going to happen, this is the CRM database of our customers. So I'll show exactly how this works. But I just made a phone call.
Pure Bar.
Our system will figure out if this is a new customer or an existing customer. It sees that I'm new. So the first thing it's going to do is create a profile based on my phone number by itself.
Genius.
So I also send an email And so at this point, what it does is it detects that Stu Wall, it sees my name associated with my phone number. It then gets the name from the email address. It can combine Stu Wall and Stu Wall into one customer profile.
Got it.
So that's happening in the background. From the customer's view, then what happens is, let's assume this person hasn't shown up yet.
Yeah.
First thing we'll do is, thanks for calling Pure Bar, reply yes to get special offers. So I'm going to write yes. About 50% of people that get a message like this from a business will opt in. So again, think of it.
Yeah, if I called the business and then they immediately send me back special offers, number one, I'd be like, well, number one, pick up your phone. But number two, thanks for the special offers. Yes, I'll take them.
Yeah, exactly. So I write back, yes, here's a special offer to get in for your first class. So again, this is managing, some businesses might have 1,000 people calling them a month. And one really specific problem to brick and mortar is there's a big disconnect between seeing this class, you and I agree we're going to do it, and then actually getting around to going into the business, scheduling an appointment, and going to Pure Bar. So big drop-off, last mile problem. We're helping them manage through that. So that's the first interaction. Now let's assume I've actually visited the business. The first thing that we're going to do is ask, would you recommend your experience? So we'll see the transaction at the point of sale. We've got your phone number. We've got your email address.
So you're putting a little NPS in there.
Exactly. So we put an NPS, you write yes, and then once you submit your feedback, assuming it's good feedback, we'll then ask you to post that on Yelp or Google+.
Genius.
And so you're kind of directing them towards more feedback. So then this kind of string of messaging continues. It's all automated. It's dependent on what the business wants to accomplish. And again, it's anything from getting the first transaction to getting reviews, referrals. We have a referral program that looks a lot like Uber, since you brought them up before, where it's, everyone has their own referral page. Exactly. Which is the best practice.
Give 25, get 25.
Exactly. And so then in the business's dashboard, you can see here for this particular location, the number of contacts that they have. So in this case, 2,000 people are on email, 101
this is sick,
SMS.
Dude. God, I haven't
all the
seen
different
this
things that are happening
since the last version.
Yeah,
when did you make all this progress? You are like, you're revving the product so fast.
Yeah, I think we're all about iterating quickly. So this has been sold since July of last year.
Can I ask you a really important question?
Yeah, go for it.
What was the valuation when I invested? Oh my God, this is incredible.
Yeah,
couple $1 million bucks.
It was 2010, so you can.
It was low, probably.
Yeah,
couple $1 million bucks. What? Okay, let me just ask a much more important question.
Yeah.
What X is my investment right now in your estimation? Am I 20X on this? I'm definitely 20. I got 10, 20X on this?
I could say we're doing very well. So we've been growing revenue. We're like 2-3X.
Good to catch up with you, Stu.
Yeah, great to catch up with you.
How many people are using this now? How many locations?
Thousands. Yeah, thousands.
Literally thousands of people are using this, and they're paying $200 a month.
Yep.
Whoa. That means you have 7 figures in rev. Whoa. 8 figures. Whoa. You're actually making a ton of money now.
We are, yeah, and it's a high margin business.
How many people are at Signpost now? I didn't realize you hit this level of scale. I knew it was going well.
Yes, we're just under 200, so we're scaling pretty quickly.
You have just under 200 people.
Yeah.
My God. Is it going to be a unicorn? Are we going to hit $1 billion valuation? What's the story here?
I'm biased, but we'll see. I think it's
trending
possible.
that way. So it feels like this is serious business.
I think it's working really well. Our retention rate is by far the best in the category. 99% of businesses renew every month. Almost all of them are just renewing month to month. As a business, and great margins, and it's a huge market. I think there's millions of businesses out there.
When we get back from this commercial break, I want to know how you picked the price.
Yep.
And how you got the first couple of customers on board to get the flywheel going. Because those are two of the hardest things for an entrepreneur to do, right? Pick the price for this thing and to actually get the first 10 people using it and actually paying for it when we get back on This Week in Startups. Hey everybody, let me take a moment to tell you about a product I love and I use and have used for years. Yes, of course, I'm talking about Squarespace, which allows you to build gorgeous, beautiful websites from gorgeous templates made by extremely talented artists and designers. And it's really easy to use. A non-technical person can put together a website that literally would have costed $100,000 just 10 years ago if you were to hire a firm and you asked them to make this level of beautiful design. And that's why people have gone crazy for Squarespace. That's why I use it for a half dozen sites. And that's why it's becoming the best place to build your website online. Squarespace 7 is out, and you can see here I'm playing a little video in the background, but my God, it's just gorgeous and beautiful and easy to use. And, here, actually, they're showing the editor and how easy it is to edit things and change all the different templates and ad pages. So, if you have a website for your business, a consulting firm, your dad's bar, your mom's, doctor's office, whatever it is. It's so easy for them to add the designs or add a calendar, add commerce. All these things are included for one low price. And all of the stuff and the templates are what's called responsive, which means, hey, when the iPhone 6 Plus comes out, you're like, oh my God, what's my website going to look like? Don't worry. Squarespace has made sure that no matter what device, no matter what screen you're pulling it up on, it looks perfect and it resizes perfectly for that screen. That's what responsiveness means. They have a partnership with Getty Images to put great images in there, and it's only $8 a month. And you'll get a free domain if you buy Squarespace for the year. Again, commerce is now built in, so you don't even have to go get a second package and pay twice to have commerce on your site. You can start a trial with no credit card, and you can start building your website today. When you do decide to make your purchase, use Twist, and you'll get 10% off. And you'll be showing your support for This Week in Startups. So again, use the promo code TWIST. Squarespace, start here, go anywhere. That's the new tagline for 7. And you can go see more about 7, squarespace.com/7. And you can see it here, guys, on my screen, if you pull up my screen for a second. They made this really beautiful video explaining all the new features and stuff like that. And this is when you know a company is really hitting their stride, when they're able to build a product that is so tight, so well done, that they can make one of these gorgeous explainer videos. They've kind of reached the Apple level in just a couple of years as a company. It's an amazing company. I'm not an investor in it, but it kills me. I wish I was an investor in this company. My God, they're doing so great. Anyway, it's beautiful, it's simple, it's powerful, it's $8 a month. What more do you need to know? Squarespace, start here, go anywhere. I love this product. Literally use it every day. I'm not kidding. Literally use the product every day. And they've been a long-time supporter of this program. Go ahead and thank @Squarespace. Thanks to the team at Squarespace. Okay, let's get back to this amazing program. Hey everybody, welcome back to This Week in Startups. Stu Wall is my guest today of Signpost. Full disclosure, I invested in this company, and apparently it looks like I'm going to make a lot of money off of this.
Yeah,
You know what? Nobody likes to talk about money in this business. And this business is driven by money, investment, and going big. It's like everybody considers it uncouth.
Yeah.
I don't think it's uncouth at all. I make a lot of bets. I lose on most bets. I am so happy that you are going to return 50x or 100x or 200x on the investment. And I'm so happy you're going to get rich from this business because you busted your ass. You were so hardworking for so many years in this business. I am thrilled that you are going to become, independently super wealthy from this business. Congratulations, dude. I mean, and to work for whatever it was, 18 months and 20 months and just hit your head against the wall, to have this level of success, it's got to feel great in year 3 and 4 to hit this.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'd say even the 18 months were a lot of fun. I felt like I was learning a lot. We were making a lot of progress.
You're so even-keeled. God, I'm more excited for you than you are for you. You're so even-keeled about this. But this is really tremendous. I have to say, you are now in the class of, obviously nobody's in the Uber class. That's just sort of a supernova. But Chartbeat and Thumbtack were in that original cohort of investments, and you're just going right up into that sort of trajectory. It's amazing how many people you have using this now.
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic.
How do you get the first 10 people on the platform?
So the first 10 people were all sold by me. That's one thing I think is important is, if you're
Do you remember the first one?
I do, yeah.
Okay, tell me, what was it? What kind of business was it? What was the weather that day?
I would caveat that it's not our typical customer anymore. Well, I should say 2 things. So one is the inspiration for the company actually came from my older sister, who is a customer. I have 3 family members who are using the product. They
no pressure there.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes Thanksgiving fun.
Hello, it's your sister. It's crashing again. They must be the hardest customers.
They are, yeah. I think my product team gets nervous every time they send me
Can you imagine?
Yeah,
you're on the product team, and it's like Susan Wall is on the line.
Exactly. But yeah, so my sister was one of the first clients. But at the same time, I was out selling it. So I remember because it was freezing cold. It was December. I was kind of walking around looking.
New York City.
Yeah. I signed up a lot of businesses that I knew. So my barber is an example. Other places were kind of the first people I got on the platform.
So literally you're at your barber.
Yeah.
And the guy's cutting your hair, and this poor guy has to
I waited until the haircut was over.
So the haircut's done.
Yeah.
And then you're like, hey, I know you cut my hair. Would you try my software? Here's what it does.
More or less, yeah. And then and I charge everybody for it. So I think the best way, if you were it's one thing. We do a lot of this where we'll bring customers in and get their feedback and walk them through a platform. So when this came out, we've been working on the product I just showed you since January.
Right.
We did a lot of kind of user interviews. We'd bring people in, show them the product, have them start kind of clicking
A full
through
year.
mock-up. Well, 6 months, I'd say, in development.
Oh, got it.
But again, it was kind of an improvement.
Over the
it's
last
always
version.
like iterations on top. But the best way to really see, what customers think is to go out and sell it.
Right.
And so it may feel uncomfortable at first. It certainly did feel that way for me.
Yeah.
But that was some of the best feedback.
What did the
I got.
barber say?
He ended up saying yes, of course.
What was he like? What was his objection? It was like, I'm really busy. I got my nephew does this for me. What?
You get the standard, and this is part of the problem we're trying to solve, but they get pitched a lot by different services. They've tried something before. They've tried AdWords. It didn't work for them. It's really complicated and expensive. So there's a little bit of a barrier to kind of, get in and explain to them what you're going to do. But I think once you do, people get it.
Well, how did you figure out the price?
So the price has been going up over time. So we started at $100 a month, and I think we offered the first month free. And what we've learned is one, we're way underpriced relative to the competition. So if you look at the ROI you get from Signpost versus kind of any advertising product, and this is less because we're better than these products and more because you're going to get a better ROI as a business by kind of managing your best prospects and managing your customers than trying to go out and get new people on Google.
These are the good leads. The best leads you have are the ones that are calling on the phone or that you have in your database already that you don't even know their names.
Exactly. Or the people that were referred by your best customer or somebody, that's or someone that found you on Yelp because you got a bunch of positive reviews. So, we think there's a lot of room to go up, and what we do is test it. So we would try price and see what happened. But I think in general, we always want to be a slam dunk ROI for businesses. We're more focused on getting more people on than necessarily charging as much as we could. I think we probably today could charge a lot more and still be a great business.
That is one of the secrets, though, to scaling these businesses is if you provide tremendous value, which is to say value that greatly exceeds the dollar amount you're extracting.
Yeah.
The business gets this sense of goodwill with the businesses that they feel like, my God, you guys are idiots. I get 10 times this amount, which means they'll never leave and they'll tell everybody about it and they're loyal.
Exactly. So retention, is really important for us, any software as a service company. So we actually intentionally on the sales calls under-promise versus what we know is the average on the other side once they sign up, because we want people to be surprised that it's working better for them than they thought it would.
Right.
And what we say in the sales call is still astronomically better than a lot of other things out there.
How much time does it take to onboard somebody, and how much time does it take to train somebody to be successful with the platform? Because you said before, like, these people are like, AdWords was too complicated. Well, this doesn't seem like it's not complicated. It seems slick. But this is a whole discipline that I don't think a barber or a dry cleaner or maybe the people in the yoga class kind of business, maybe they've always had some kind of like Visual Basic built kind of like clunky desktop software. But
it varies significantly. So I'd say if you look at individual businesses, there's some folks that are very savvy and have been doing this themselves. There's some folks that are still paying for Yellow Pages. Surprisingly, that's still a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yeah.
But and then as well, like we deal with some bigger businesses that have 5 or 10 person marketing team. The theme though is that in any of those cases, none of those folks want to spend time again in software scoring leads, writing emails, testing, A/B testing what subject lines have the highest open rate. That's not something that they want to spend their time doing. So we want to automate absolutely everything. So we take you through onboarding. It takes between 20 and 40 minutes. It's scheduled with someone after the sales call within 48 hours. Once you go through that, you don't have to do anything. We're going to get the data automatically. The marketing is going to happen automatically. You can log in and about 80% due every month, but you don't have to.
What do? You intercept their phone calls? You create a bunch of phone numbers that they can put on the different services?
So we intercept their phone calls. We only do it through one number, or we can, so that's the approach there. We connect as many email accounts as they're using.
What about giving them like 5 phone numbers? You put one phone number on Yelp, one phone number on Google Plus. Is that a bad idea because it confuses the public, or is it a good idea because you could track calls from different sources?
Yeah, so it would be interesting because you could know where the call was coming from. The downside is there's a little bit of an issue with it's called NAP, so name, address, phone number is something that Google uses to kind of look for businesses. So you want to have consistency.
Got it.
But yeah, so we intercept the calls, the emails, the transaction piece. We actually install software at the terminal that kicks back reporting to us that right now is not available to them. So right now, if you transact, you'll get a paper statement at the end of the month that has last 4 digits of a credit card number.
Well, you got some dongle you put on the or some little secret sauce?
For most of the businesses, we just send them a new piece of hardware when they sign up. They plug it in, and it works. They can transact like they would. We charge a little bit less than Square, 2.69 flat rate, and then they get the reporting back. So the pitch there is, look, everybody pitches you on saving money on processing. We're going to charge you a little bit less than everyone else, but that's not why you should use us. You should use us because we're going to make this data make you money. So something where now you're paying, whatever you're paying, it's going to now drive marketing for you, and that resonates pretty well.
Now, can they do also like one-time promotions to people? And because the original idea behind the business was like, hey, if you're going to run a Groupon, why would you give Groupon half the economics?
Yeah.
So can they run a Groupon style thing, and do those style offers work?
I think,
not?
So our view is if you're sending them to people that are actually interested in your business, so someone that found you online, called you, or one of your existing customers, it doesn't need to be 50% off. You can do 10% off, and that's a very interesting discount. So we would not kind of encourage people. I mean, the answer to your question is yes. They can set up kind of what campaigns they want to send at the beginning. They can also go in and send a message to all of their contacts or subset.
They can do a blast to everybody.
They can, yeah. Most of them don't, again, because that's not,
effective.
They want it to set and forget it. But if they do that, a lot of our customers would run 10 to 20% off. That's really effective. We don't take any margin. The person just shows up, and I think that's a much healthier approach for a brick and mortar business.
Well, what role is SMS in all of this with the local businesses? Because it does seem like the phone number, the mobile number, is just such a key identifier of who the individual is, and then this loop on SMS seems incredibly effective.
Yep.
Because you can send short links in it. You know if it got clicked.
Yep.
Do people find that annoying, or do they find it awesome? What's the best practice there? Because this seems to me like to be this great, they call it the dark web, I guess. It's like the web that you can't see publicly like Twitter and Facebook. But this dark web stuff seems so effective at driving actual action. Is that true or not?
It is. So SMS is definitely more powerful than email, on a one-to-one basis. You have to be careful. So it's more, one of the reasons it's more effective is because it's more disruptive to use.
Right.
It feels like a push notification.
Sure.
There's a lot of, you might get 100 emails a day. But you have to be careful. So we only send SMS when it's related to a call, related to a transaction, or someone's opted in to receive messages. And again, we have a pretty high conversion rate of people that do opt in, but we're careful not to send something to someone that's not going to be, is going to be upset that we're sending a message to them.
And now what about acquiring new customers?
Yeah.
Because this is amazing. Like step one, manage existing customers.
Yep.
Step two, manage your profiles in all these places and make them clean and capture that information. But what if a business is like, you know what? We need to get another 10 people in each class because the studio is that big.
Yeah.
Do you handle that yet? Like putting ads on Facebook or Google or helping them with that problem of acquiring new customers?
So we don't. So a portion of what we do is definitely acquiring new customers. So it's that, showing up when someone looks for you, converting the people that find you, using your existing base to refer you, write reviews. That's I would argue by far the most effective way to get new customers. It doesn't matter what type of business you are.
Yeah.
On top of that, to your point, you might want to do paid advertising if you really want to, get more people in.
Right.
That's not our business.
Right.
So I think of it as, Salesforce is a CRM software company for B2B companies. Google is a different, ad platform, and there are people that, might help you run AdWords campaigns, but those are really different businesses. We see ourselves as a software company.
And so who's your competition, as it were? Is there anybody else doing this kind of stuff? Or it's just like, it seems like it's pretty unique.
Yeah, so there are people, I think, that kind of add some CRM and marketing functionality on top of a limited data set. So Square, in some ways,
they have the terminal,
they don't do a ton yet, but there is an opportunity for them to probably do more marketing with the transaction data they have. There are folks in the scheduling space like MindBody that do some remarketing on top of the scheduling data. No one's really kind of pulling in these disaggregated data sources. And our view is when you add transactions and phone and email and social and all the marketing activity, the resulting data set's exponentially more valuable than just any one data point.
Sure it is.
And very few people are kind of pulling all those things together.
So have you added Twitter yet, or is that coming soon? And how will that work? Because I know the best practice amongst consumers is that when they get the wrong change, to subject everybody who follows them to knowing that they just got the wrong change.
Something happened,
Or like, my God, they didn't give out peanuts on my Southwest flight because somebody was allergic to peanuts, and everybody in the world has to know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's incredibly annoying that people think that on Twitter, we all want to hear their like customer support complaints about American Airlines or Delta. Like, we know that these airlines are horrible people. We know that they're horrible people who work there. We know it's a horrible service. We know it's like whatever, but they just flood the stream with how bad Delta is or United. What about these small businesses? Like, is there an opportunity for them to convert those people, or because then you sort of become like help desk, right? You start getting to the Zen desk kind of zone.
So I think that's there are businesses out there that do kind of social media management, and we think of them kind of as micro agencies. So they've got an army of account managers looking for negative feedback and then responding to it. For some businesses that may be a good investment. That's not our business. The one thing we would do is if you go in and transact, we'll ask if you're happy or not. If the answer is no, we'll ask you why and send that to the business. So in a lot of ways, I think when someone has that experience, they want their voice to be heard. And if the business is asking them...
It's so preemptive. You could keep people from getting on Twitter.
Exactly. So, in the event that someone still gets there and posts, it's not our business to be responding to that because you have to be authentic. You need to have people doing that. That's not a software product. But we can preempt it.
What about followers on Twitter? So if they get followers on Twitter... Can they be put into the CRM and sort of somehow be targeted? And is that even effective?
So that's where I think there's an opportunity for us to expand. So if they have followers on Twitter, we could be messaging them through Twitter or just kind of adding that to the profile to know someone, here's someone who's emailed, called you, and transacted. By the way, they're following you on Twitter and they're influential. So then that might, kind of lead to a different marketing stream.
See, my new best practice, and I think everybody, just for the sake of everybody on Twitter, if you're pissed off at somebody, just put the @ symbol first so we don't have to see it. At Virgin, whatever, America, like, whatever. The Wi-Fi sucks. Like, we all know the Wi-Fi sucks over the Rockies. Like, you're some genius. You figured it out. Like, just at Virgin America. Here's the deft move.
Yeah. What's
now,
that?
I don't actually complain about anything anymore.
Really?
I actually just talk about the shit I like. I talk about the stuff I like a lot. And I'm just like, God, this product is amazing. Congratulations to Mack Weldon on making a great black T-shirt. I am delighted. And like literally now, Mack Weldon is sweating me so hard on Twitter. They're favoriting all my stuff that has nothing to do with T-shirts. They're thanking me for my blog posts. And I'm like, guys, don't thank me for blog posts. Like, send me free shirts. Like, send me a box of like whatever the next thing is. Like, just be nice to people on Twitter. That's the high art now.
I agree with that. Yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
That's the super high art. Is like, forget about complaining. Tell people when they're doing great.
Yeah.
So now that you have the business at 200, you're running a scale business. What's important when you get to the level you're at now? And keeping, because you're not going and selling the barber anymore.
Yeah.
So you're going to get out of touch with the business as time goes on. You have filters between you and the customers, filters between you and the product.
Yep.
Right? To scale, you need to have all these people running this stuff. Like, how do you as the founder stay grounded and understand what's going on in your business?
Yeah, I'd probably take that two ways. I mean, the first thing is, and obviously everybody says this, but hiring a team is incredibly important. So, I mean, you've met our head of revenue, Chris, is amazing. He's an animal. I love that guy. Yeah, Chris is way better at me at managing a sales team than I ever could be myself. And I think I'd say that about everyone in my exact team. So bringing people in that are going to know their domain better than I do is really important. And I think we've done a good job at that. Outside of it, I mean, it is important. I think you stay close to customers. So I still listen to sales calls. I sit on the sales floor and, we'll kind of like hear what's going on.
That's important.
So you'll do those types of things. I was in the interviews with customers when we're doing the product research. And I know a lot of customers, including, my family that's using it. So you get that feedback directly. So I think it's important no matter how big you get, you have to stay close to the front line.
I love that idea of proximity, though, like overhearing the conversations.
Yep.
Like, I hate running companies when they get past like 30, 40, 50 people because you can't hear all the conversations going on.
Yep.
You get so disconnected that everything starts coming to you in reports.
Exactly.
I like being in the room with for me, the sweet spot in companies that I just love is like when there's 12 people in a room.
Yeah.
And so when a conversation of importance does break out, you can just say, hey, everybody, listen to this conversation.
Yep.
And then sit back down.
It gets harder when you get bigger, for sure.
It's not like that anymore, right? You have to hold like the Friday all hands or something.
We do. Yeah, and we have 3 offices. So You
get the Cisco system? You got the Cisco virtual presence?
No, we use, we've tried different stuff.
GoToMeeting,
Yeah.
Cisco's got a pretty sick system now that they're...
Yeah, I think it's a little outside of the startup price range. But
yeah, we'll see what happens, though. But they're my friend Rowan over there is making one for startups. That's pretty...
Oh, really?
Yeah, it used to be like $250 a room, then it became like $40 a room, and I think there's going to be like the $4,000 a room kind of option. That's going to be pretty buttery.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Those telepresence rooms are pretty sick. So you have a sales offer somewhere else.
We do, yeah. So we have sales and tech in Austin, Texas.
Oh, Austin, fantastic.
Yeah. And then we also have, I mean, really, we try to hire for every position, but, so New York City, Austin, and Denver are the 3 markets.
So how does one, when they're getting to scale, it's great to have, a guest on who's actually getting to scale, how does one pick the second or third city to put these other things in? Because I know, I was talking to the guys at Zenefits. They went to Arizona, I guess, and Yelp has their sales team in Arizona. For some reason, Arizona is the place to put sales teams. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Why is Arizona so popular for sales teams? Is it just the affordability of living, or there's just a bunch of
I'm sure it's a bunch of
dude
things.
bros there or something? Or
probably the dude bros. Yeah,
there's a lot of dude bros in Arizona who want to sell?
So I don't know Arizona specifically, but for us, what we look, we wanted to replicate our culture in other markets. So we didn't want to have kind of a completely different office. We also wanted to have a place where if we wanted someone from New York that was going to relocate, this is a place that they would like to go. So we kind of identified 5 markets that we thought fit that criteria. And then the approach we took is we actually posted our first jobs in all 5 markets, picked 2 of them that had the most promise and went out and interviewed. And then we picked Austin first because that was where we had the best team.
This is the greatest hack of all time. This is like a lean startup hack at a big startup.
Yeah.
So you don't know what city you're going to be in.
Yeah.
So you start doing interviews in those cities.
Exactly.
Without operating in those cities to just figure out the talent level there.
Exactly. And then we knew in Austin we had a 5-person founding team that was exceptional.
God, you're so smart, dude. God, I would never even think to do that. That is a genius. How'd you come up with that idea?
I'm not sure.
Was that like a lean startup, inspired idea? Like you put a landing page up and see what happens, or?
I think we definitely agree with that methodology. I don't think, I read the book and that's where it came from.
And that actually works. So you basically tell everybody to come to the Marriott by the airport?
Yeah. We actually did because I can't remember the name of the hotel in Austin, but we picked kind of a fancy hotel where we did all of our interviews. We weren't even staying there, but worked out well.
And the Austin scene, the people there, the quality level is high?
Yeah, quality in Austin's great, and Denver as well. I think they're both awesome cities. So I think New York and kind of the Valley and San Francisco obviously have a lot of startups, a lot of talented people, but there are a lot of young folks, young educated people in places like Austin and Denver that also want to work for startups, and it's a little bit less competitive for us, to be honest. There are fewer other startups out there competing for the same people. Yeah,
you guys are based in New York, in case people don't know.
We are, based in New York.
In Manhattan or Brooklyn?
We're in Manhattan.
Manhattan.
Yeah.
You thinking about moving to Brooklyn? Does that come up?
It's certainly come up.
You live in Brooklyn or no?
No, I live in Manhattan.
You live in Manhattan.
Yeah. So we have people coming in from Jersey. What we did, we had everybody submit their address and we figured out where was the most convenient commute, and it was Flatiron. So that's where we are.
Yeah, because you got people coming in from Brooklyn and Jersey and stuff.
Yeah. So if you move to Brooklyn, you've got someone in Jersey. That's going to be a really hard commute. Yeah.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
So you have investment from Google Ventures.
That's right.
Google is big in the local space. How did you, because the big criticism, actually I just had lunch with the guys from Google Ventures, and we talked about this, but and I think we may have talked about it at the time, how do you know taking money from Google Ventures that, hey, now they have insight into our business, it's not going to jump the fence and go to the Google local team and have them start saying, oh, Stuart Phillips is a smart cat, let's just copy these features and replicate them. Because that must be a concern as an entrepreneur when you're dealing with a corporate venture capital arm. It doesn't seem like Google has had this problem. How did you manage it, and did you think about that, and how did you come to the conclusion this was a good idea to take their money?
Yeah, so I'd say a couple of things. Google Ventures does a good job of kind of saying, look, there's a wall between us and the corporate entity. We'll make introductions for you, but you have to, kind of earn any partnerships on your own merit. Even though they're within a bigger corporation, we weren't worried that was going to prevent us from getting bought by Yahoo or someone like that.
Right. And then, so it's not like they have the first right to buy the company or over Yahoo or something. You have to give them some special condition, nor do they ask for that.
Exactly. Yeah. But then I think outside of that, a lot of people kind of talk about are worried about telling someone your idea because you worry they're going to steal it.
Yeah.
My view is it's so hard to build a company, and ideas are easy, execution's everything. I think is a John Doerr quote. It's you've got to build the business. I don't spend my time worrying about someone reverse engineering what we do, because I think there's so much that goes into what we do, whether it's from the acquisition side, the product piece, our customer service. It's not as easy as just looking at the site and replicating it. And I think that's true for all startups, not just ours.
Yeah, that was an interesting discussion I had with them. Is I said, that was everybody's concern when they launched Google Ventures was like, oh, so this is how you will find the next ideas to put into the search engine to kill the next generation of startups. And what they've done a really good job of is if that were to happen once, it would ruin Google Ventures. The second a founder came out and said, I gave my ideas to the Google Ventures team and it hopped the fence and I saw it in a Google Plus, the next week or the next year, oh my God, would that just destroy Google Ventures? And the Google Ventures guys have the sickest deal in venture capital ever.
It's a pretty good deal.
These guys have a fund that resets every year. That's a technical thing, but I was hanging out with the other VCs. I'm an angel. I'm not a VC, but the VCs are so catty, it's unbelievable. I mean, this is like, you wouldn't believe it. They were lamenting that if they hit an Uber in whatever, when they invested in Uber in 2013, and then 2014 and 2015, they lose money, they don't have to make good on the losses against the Uber in 2013. And then they don't have a fund size. It's like 500 million, a billion, ask Larry, whatever. It's like they just pump $500 million into investments, and every year it resets like a new fund, and there's only one LP. And they trust them now. Because they looked really like stupid after investing in Uber at $3.6 billion or whatever they paid. And then now they look like geniuses because they went whatever.
It's a big check too.
Cash on cash. It's a pays for their fund for many years. So that is that firm is making other VC firms mental right now.
I can see that.
But have they been a good partner to you? How has it been having them as a partner?
They've been great.
On the board?
They have an observer seat on the board. So relatively small compared to Spark, OpenView is another investor. But they've been helpful. So one thing that they do, and OpenView does this as well, is they have kind of an operating team that helps you with things. So I think especially in the early days, we worked with one of their designers who's very helpful in the first version of our website. They have an engineering partner who helped us with some of our first developer hires. That's really helpful. I think at this point we're pretty self-sufficient. So Google Ventures has a lot of companies. That's the big piece that people also don't know is like they have Daniel Burka, who is like Kevin Rose's design right hand, and they have a bunch of other designers, and they do these design clinics with the portfolio companies where they bring you in and try to like up your design. You guys did that. We actually had a guy working with us in New York.
Oh, really?
Yeah, specific to our site, which was.
So how does that work? He comes by the office and hangs out for a month for free? Or he just tells you
again,
like,
this is quite some time ago, so I'm not sure what they do today. And I think it varies depending on the size of their investment. So obviously companies like Uber, they're much more supportive of. But I would say
they probably have to do less though. Travis is not like, I really need some help.
That's probably right. But I would say for us, I can only speak to my experience. They were very involved in the early days, and they're not charging for the services.
That's amazing. It's like getting some free killer in design to just come level you up, and they're not even watching the clock. What would you estimate the value of the design if you had to like pay an outside firm to do that design stuff? What would you have paid them? Hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands?
Probably in the tens range, but it's helpful. I mean, I think that's a differentiator more and more VCs are pulling together. So you take OpenView, which is less of a brand than Google Ventures, but a fantastic investor.
Who is OpenView? I don't even know them.
So OpenView is based in Boston. They're a spin out of Insight.
Insight Venture Partners.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a big
So Scott
firm.
Maxwell left Insight to start OpenView. Great platform. And they have like recruiting resources that have helped us make some really key hires. They have people that help us with kind of sales
legitimately
operations.
People are working at
People are legitimately,
Signpost, who they helped
interviewing on our behalf.
Wow.
Finding
but you have talent at your company that came from them.
Yes. Yeah,
wow,
absolutely.
That's a big statement because a lot of these places have the talent thing, but
it doesn't really happen.
It doesn't really happen, and you're like, why do you even have this if it's not actually working?
Yeah, and it's tough because you think about it. You raise a round of venture, you've got to grow pretty quickly. So you've got to take a step back and try to make some key hires, but at the same time you're driving 100 miles an hour. So it's tough. So having somebody come in and then being like, hey, as part of the fundraise, I need to make these 3 hires. Helping you with that, I think, is a differentiator.
You know what's particularly brilliant about that, and I'm going to check out this OpenView because I don't know them, is when the venture capitalist is recruiting you into a company, the halo effect of the venture capitalist then goes onto the company.
Yep.
And I just had one of my angel investments from this year say, we have this woman graduating from Columbia. She's a dynamo. We want her to work for her. She worked at this other place that was like incredible. Then she went to get her degree. We want her when she comes out to come work for us. I was like, that's great. How can I help? And they're like, can you call her? And I was like, sure I can. So I have a call with her, and it's like one of these MBA rocket scientists, and she's interviewing me. So what was your thesis on this? What was your thesis on this? And I was like, oh, I thought, sorry, I thought I was interviewing you, but she basically is interviewing me as the angel investor of why I made the investment. And I was like, wow, this is great. She is actually like super engaged, and when the VC is engaged, you know that their only intent is to grow the business. And if you're coming and joining and you have equity, you're so aligned, whereas a recruiter is getting paid to close the transaction. And that's it. There's no incentive other than getting somebody placed.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, having that kind of help is very useful. And we've done, I think all of our investors, including Google Ventures, have had calls with candidates for us.
All right. This is amazing, dude. I'm so happy for you. I'm sorry it took me so long to have you on the program. I feel like I'm a bad angel investor now. Have I been a good angel investor?
You've been a great angel investor.
Really?
Yeah, no, you've been very helpful.
I hope so. I'm like really optimizing for being helpful.
I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah, like I said, all these there's all these crazy people on the internet, and like they start taking all your time. And I wrote a blog post today, just hit the mute button on the crazy people.
Oh yeah.
And then all the great people in your life, actually add some extra time that you get back from the insane people that you're dealing with in your life, the takers, and literally mentally ill people. And just go to the portfolio companies or other people you're working with and try to add value there for the time. What do you think makes a great angel investor now, having done this, 4 years into this all? What do you think the role of angel investors, and then we'll take VCs after that, if you were ever one, how would you mold your career, and what do you think when they're at their best they're doing?
Yeah, great question. I think one thing that we find really helpful, especially for me as a first-time entrepreneur, I am a first-time entrepreneur, having someone like yourself that has operating experience, just in the brief interactions you have, you can get a lot of valuable insight because you're running the company, you're passionate, you're working 80-hour weeks, but having someone who's done it before, I think is pretty helpful. So
it's nice to have somebody objective to
Yeah.
Tell the truth to and be like, hey.
Exactly. So I think that's useful. I mean, I think we covered this already, but the recruiting side, I think is by far, companies succeed and fail based on the quality of their team and the culture as a business. So help with that, I think, is incredibly valuable. Then you've done everything from help us with, introductions to other investors to, and I've talked about
I hope those introductions work.
Yeah.
It seems to be working really well now. I think since I hit a couple, now when I introduce people,
they pay attention. Yeah.
I always look at the amount of time it takes for somebody to get back
to a
portfolio company.
Yeah.
And I have particular rules about it when I'm introducing somebody. Yeah. I had one VC say, before you send somebody to me, I want you to ask me first before you do the introduction. Yeah. And I said, oh, no, don't worry. I'm just not going to send anybody to you anymore. You don't have to worry about this.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, no, it's my email box. I was like, listen, if I'm sending it to you, you should be really thankful because I've already made my bet. Yeah. And I would never send you anything that's a dog. Yeah. I'm not sending you people that I didn't invest in. I'm sending you people I didn't invest in. But it really does. I have to say, it pisses me off sometimes when people don't get back to on the introduction, or they put somebody off to a junior person. Yeah, which has happened. Or, it's just wow, that's lame. And then because I always hear back from the founder, and I had to tell one VC I send my portfolio companies to 3, 4, 5 VCs, maybe 5 I have on my short. I've introduced you to those 5. Hey, these are high quality people I really like. I was like, you're on that list of the 5 people who I think are really great, and then you don't respond for a week. Don't you realize how bad that makes you look? Michael Moritz, and he gets back to people within an hour or two. Yeah. And he's Michael Moritz. When I emailed him about my new idea for a company, he got back to me in the hour. Yeah. And I was kind of a nobody back then, but I think it really speaks Because now you're like big, powerful, guy, 200 employees, the thing's crushing it. Of course, everybody's going to take the meeting. What makes me mental is like when I introduce you the last time or the time before that, and I say, hey, pay attention to this.
Yep.
And they don't get back and they don't treat it with the same gravitas.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best, from my perspective, some of the best investors are very responsive. And even if they decide it's not for them, they do it in a professional way and give you valuable feedback.
Yeah.
Because it is a service business. You want to build your reputation so other entrepreneurs are recommending you.
And that's exactly, or not recommending you as the case would be.
So my view is, like, to the extent people don't respond, it's their loss.
So weird.
So, it's just not a fit, which is fine.
All right, listen, continued success. If you have a small business, go check out Signpost SMB on Twitter, or you have signpost.com, right?
That's right.
We're just signpost.com. And it's a really great product by a really great team. And I'm assuming you're hiring.
We are.
Always.
Always hiring.
In Denver, Austin, and New York.
That's right.
Which means you could live in Brooklyn, Westchester, or New Jersey, depending if you want to commute. First name at companyname.com tends to go to the CEO. So if you have like a lot of skill and you want to actually email him, I'll leave it to you to figure that out. But really, congratulations on the success. I'm super happy for you, dude.
Thanks.
It's so great to see.
It's been a lot of fun.
You take it from like zero to hero, and I think it's like literally the best is yet to come for the company. Yep. And having met some of the people on the team, it's like, wow, this is impressive. You're getting like really high quality people. You're going to have like, I think this company is going to, you'll have over 1,000 people, and you'll go public. I think you're like, the sky's the limit for what you're working on right now.
Yeah,
especially because you're dialed in right now. I can tell when somebody's dialed in. Like there was a moment in time when I was like, wow, Marco from Thumbtack is so dialed in that he understands his product so well. He understands his culture, his team. It was like shades of like Tony Hsieh at his prime or whoever, like just like really understands it and is like really in the zone. Yeah. And you're in that zone now. You can just see it from the people in the organization and how clear they are on the mission and how the product value is just so undeniable. Yep. And the value proposition that now it's just about scaling it and not messing it up, like not getting distracted. Yeah. I mean, you must be getting tons of distractions now, right? Like everybody wants you to bolt on every feature. Everybody wants to I think acquire companies. Yeah, focus is really important. So I mean, I think it's almost more important to actively look for things you shouldn't be doing because you're naturally inclined to kind of pick up more stuff and add more features and do partnerships. So we're always looking for how can we do fewer things better versus trying to please everybody. It gets harder the bigger you are. Well said. Don't, as Mark Cuban told me one time, don't drown in opportunity. Yeah. Because when Weblogs Inc. hit and we had like Engadget and Autoblog and these things were like clicked in and dialed in like that, everybody in the world was calling like, can you do Samsung's blog? And it was like, wow, that's cool. We could write Samsung's blog. And I was like, well, what are we doing now? It's like the New York Times is not writing like Samsung's blog. It's a distraction. It's a distraction. He's like, this is a distraction. Why don't you just make Engadget twice as good with the same amount of time and effort and let them buy ads? Yeah. All right. Listen, thanks to WeWork for hosting and making me this beautiful studio here. Thank you to Jacob and Jackie. I get a lot of credit for the show, obviously, but I have, I deserve a certain amount. I'm not going to say I don't. But literally, Jackie, spends all week, 50 hours a week, making the show great. Jacob makes it beautiful and flawless and is doing the native video on Facebook and the native video on Twitter. We're doing all this native video now. Gets it up on Wistia, gets it up on SoundCloud. It's really neat stuff. And doing the Instagram. So check out, we have Instagram now, TWS Startups. So thanks, Jacob, and thanks, Jackie, for making it great. Thanks to my Chief of Staff, Bryce. Luke, Matt, Julian, great job selling, but I want to see a little bit more out of each of you. A little bit more, honestly. I want to see a little bit more, a little more hustle. This move, this is my move when I leave. Yeah. I leave the office, right? Like, so yesterday I had to leave and feed my daughter dinner, so I was left a little bit early. I left at like 5:15, 5:30. I'm downstairs getting my car. Boom, I see like a sales guy leave. And I'm like, he's going to pay for that. You know that move when you leave and then you forget something and you come back and everybody in the office is waiting for the boss to leave. Because that was always my rule. Yeah. I would never leave my office before the boss. Yep. I am flabbergasted when people leave before I leave the office. Because sometimes I'll work till 7 or 8 and I'm like, you better be teaching the bar class or the Pilates class if you're leaving before I leave. But I'm old school that way. How do you have a lot of young people like millennials working for you? We have a lot of millennials for sure. You got the work ethic. You filter. They have the work ethic for sure. I mean, we try to be. We try to the ones you hire.
it depends on the position. But here's what I'd say. We have a lot of hardworking people. We at the same time I don't want to mandate hours. I mean, I probably, I work more than anybody. I think that's true for like a lot of startups. But our view is impact over effort. We don't judge you based on the hours and weekends you're in the office. We judge you on the impact you have on the company.
Of course.
But that said, for a lot of people, that impact correlates with effort. So we have folks that really put in the time.
I just find it's weird to be old school and like this new generation. Like some of them don't want to be at work. Like they don't want to be successful. They like their definition of success is not like guys like us or whatever, people who grew up in Gen X or whatever. Like there's a whole contingent of them that are like into like their quality of their friendships and their experience and their vacations is like what's driving them, which I think is actually probably smarter than us. they're not going to be as successful, but they're going to be happier. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But my God, it's like hard to imagine sometimes. Like if I can't imagine when I worked for my dad, what would happen if I left before he left the bar.
Yeah.
When I was working for him, like literally he would have thrown something at me like, where are you going? It's crazy. And the other one is no goodbye. That's another pet peeve of mine.
No goodbye? The Irish.
Well, if I'm working and you're leaving and you sulk out of the office and don't say goodbye to your boss, you should always say goodbye, check in. Like when I had to leave before my boss, again, I'm old school.
Yeah.
I'd always be like, hey, Stu.
Yeah.
I gotta run early, just so you know, but it was a great day. We got a lot accomplished. And is there anything you need me to do before I go?
Yeah.
I always did a check-in.
That's great. I would have hired you.
I always did a check-in.
Yeah.
That's why I'm writing about this stuff on calacanis.com.
Yeah.
Like, here's the secrets on how to be successful.
Yeah, I saw your post today.
Yeah, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do another set of like 10 items. Because apparently nobody's parents are explaining to them how to behave in the workplace anymore. There's just like no training of how to... like checking your. Do you ever have people check their SMS and their phones at a meeting?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Like I find that super weird. Like if we're in a meeting, like I'm talking about like a client meeting, and like somebody who's like a sales guy is like, under the table, and I'm just like, there's a client in the room.
Yeah.
What's on your phone?
Yeah.
If it's another client, they can wait.
Yep.
It's like your phone's not ringing.
I think in general, you just no devices in meetings, unless you're taking notes about the meeting.
Exactly.
But you know what I mean? VCs are guilty of that too. It's not just millennials.
And VCs, oh my God. This is what I do.
Yeah.
Because I'm hardcore about this. Even when I was a nobody, when I was in a VC meeting and they started using their phone, you know what I did?
What?
I stopped talking and I just looked at them.
Yeah.
Literally, I've done it. It's so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so our plan is to... Okay, no, I just didn't want you to miss it. Because it's an important piece of it, you know? I literally did that a couple of times. It makes people so uncomfortable and they are so apologetic. But that is the most crazy, disrespectful thing is when VCs are in a meeting with an entrepreneur. If a VC does this to you, literally, and you're an entrepreneur and you take their money, you're an idiot. Because if they're in a meeting with you and they're checking their phone while you're giving them the first pitch, it's like if you're on a date with somebody and while you're having dinner, they're hitting on the server or like flirting with the bartender or something. It's like, how do you think this is going to go?
I agree. Absolutely.
Right now, Stu's like, I don't know what this has to do with me or Signpost, but I feel like venting today. I'm sorry.
Try not to throw any VCs under the bus, but I absolutely agree. It does still happen to me. You know what I'll do? I'll ask them, are you taking notes? And
really?
Then you'll find out. Ooh. But here's the thing. It's pretty disruptive if you're giving a presentation and someone's typing in the background.
And the first person who does it, it spreads.
Yeah.
What I do with my team is I say, if we're in a meeting, you should have a pen and a notepad. I bought everybody LightScribe pens and notepads because they're a really cool digital pen for the new year. So there's no excuse that you don't have one or whatever. But to come to it, or if your boss says, hey, can I talk to you for a second? And you don't come over with a pen and paper.
Yep.
Like, why do you think he or she is talking to you? They're talking to you because they want to communicate something.
Yep.
Bring a pen and paper.
Yeah.
Be ready to take notes.
Yep.
And if you're in a meeting, be present. And whoever's speaking, listen to them and deeply think about why they're saying what they're saying. This is like basic 101 how to behave in a meeting.
Yeah.
And I think this like Google culture of like at Google, everybody would have their meetings open, their laptops open. It's just like people start to think that this is okay. It's like, well, why are we having a meeting? This is sort of like co-working or something. It's like we're co-working at our desk. We're having a meeting to talk about the issue. Like,
in the meeting, my view is like if you're at the point where people are on their laptops writing other emails, doing something
Meeting's
else,
over.
yeah, the meeting's over. You're not talking about anything that's important. So that creates a higher bar for the meeting. It's got to be engaging enough that you have to be paying attention.
Yeah.
And that's a sign that that's not.
Yeah. All right. Listen. Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to WeWork, and blah 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 blah, and blah 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 blah, and that's it. All right. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.